Hello everyone, Patch here with Artsy Doors. This is just going to be a quick video tonight. I had an acquaintance on one of my Facebook groups ask about making jewelry mock-ups for like earrings and whatnot. So this is just going to be a quick one. I'm going to be doing this in Photoshop CS6 and we're going to have some basic resources. We're only going to use 2 files for this one. Let's go ahead and get those open now. These 2 right here. Basically we've got the model, which has no earring, and then we've got the earrings that we're going to want to add to the model themselves. Now ideally when you shoot earrings for a mock-up, you'll hang them from like a white card or something that'll make it a lot easier to remove them from the background. But we'll go ahead and do this real quick. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate one earring that will then hang on the model once we isolate it. So let's go ahead and get rid of the background on this one. Now I'll speed through this and fast forward to where we want to get it done. But basically all I'm doing is removing it like this, putting it back where it was, and then the background itself I'm going to go ahead and fill with white, and that'll give us a lot easier. And I should be able to go ahead and select some of the surrounding areas that are fairly consistent gray. I've got it set to tolerance of 30, and as you can see that goes ahead and removes the majority of the background pretty quick. Now we will have to do some fine tuning around the edges to clean it up, but at least the magic wand gets us there pretty close with what we're trying to do. Now I am using continuous because if I choose not to use it, then I end up getting a lot of the matching colors like within the earring itself. So if you hang on, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward at this point, and then I'll come back once I have this isolated completely from the background, and we'll go ahead and lay it in on the model themselves. Okay, now it looks like we've got our earring successfully removed from the background. Now since we are hanging pretty much straight from the model's ear, we're going to go ahead and straighten this up a little bit, and then let's go ahead and take the earring over to the model. So we're going to select this later, everything on it, we're going to copy it, and then we're going to go over to the model and we're going to paste it into here. There we go. Obviously at this point it doesn't look all that realistic, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and take care of that here in a minute. I think it's going to look a little bit better going into the ear like this. And now what we'll be able to go ahead and do is, since it's going into the ear, let's go ahead and erase the excess part of this. So we end up with that. Actually, what you could do, since the earring, let's take a look at something. Let's see. That's kind of large. I'd actually like the earring to be a little bit smaller. So let's go ahead and shrink it down. It looks about right. Now what we can go ahead and do is go ahead and erase the excess finding here. So that's the beginning of it. Now we need to make it look a little more realistic, and what you want to do is you want to match the lighting direction. So we're going to go ahead and add a subtle drop shadow. Now the idea here is that what you're trying to do to make it look a little more realistic, and this model's got pretty even lighting from front and back. So let's go ahead and we'll just drop it down like this. The earring's fairly close to the ear, so it's not going to have room to give much of a shadow. And we'll go ahead and reduce the, probably somewhere right about there. Let's see what that looks like. Like I said, we're making this fairly subtle. That doesn't look too bad. Another thing you want to do is you want to make sure your resolution, in other words the sharpness of your image that you're importing, matches your model. If not, it gives an obvious discrepancy. The earring itself looks a little light for this image, so let's go ahead and darken it down a little bit. Let's say it's going to have a dark koana finish, something more like that. And let's go ahead and you can see how subtle I'd like to make the shadows. I think it's better to be less obvious than overly obvious. And what you can do is just play around with the settings. Now again, this is all done in Photoshop CS6. I'm not sure what doing this in, say, GIMP would be like. and you can just play with it until you're happy with it. Once you're happy with the finished product, go ahead and just save it as a JPEG at the size and resolution that you're going to be using. You know, whether it's going to be on Etsy or Facebook Marketplace or handmade at Amazon, and you're done. Hope that helped a little bit. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave me a message. You can either contact me through Facebook, facebook.com/artsydoors,